What is up, Cancer? Welcome to your February Tarot forecast. I'm glad to have you here. I hope that you take whatever you need to take from this message. If it resonates with you, take it with. If not, leave it behind. Um, let's just get started with it. Just a quick overview of the spread. This top row is going to be major themes that we are encountering throughout the month. They may be working, might be one theme all working together, could be three separate. We will be diving into that. Here in this center row, we have cards that are representing unforeseen obstacles or challenges that might come our way and ways that we can traverse or overcome those obstacles. There may also just be things to keep in mind when presented with any challenges during this time period. It doesn't necessarily need to be one of these cards. Here on the outside, we have oracle cards that are going to also be influencing kind of this obstacle success track right here. We have another underneath this top part here, and this is going to be mostly pertaining to these main themes, but these oracle cards can be applied to any of the cards in the spread. That is why they are surrounding it. So please just keep that in mind as we go along. And finishing it out at this bottom row, we have the key concepts for the month. So you can kind of view these as this is the lens that I'm going to be looking through as I'm making decisions and cultivating relationships and, you know, making certain circumstances, whatever it may be. Just these to keep in mind and how they may also influence these other aspects of the month that we have going on. So let's get into it. Let's start with this top row. So upon laying out your spread, I laid out these two cards. We have Two of Cups in reverse and the Nine of Swords. Okay, this Nine of Swords card, man, it'd be having some things to say. I laid out these two cards and immediately I was like, the Taurus spread gave me the same type of initial vibe of like, oof, needs improvement. And I just figured because the same thing happened with Taurus. I can't remember what card we ended up having. Maybe Temperance, or I don't remember what it was. But we had some positive major arcana card at the end of that, like major themes. And Cancer, you are no different. And not only are you no different, but this card is you in the tarot deck. The Chariot. The Chariot represents, let's just start with that one. The Chariot represents strength. So an outer strength is kind of what we're looking at. Willpower, determination, resiliency. And if we think about a crab, which is the, sign of Cancer, it's a little crab. Crabs have a hard shell surrounding them, right? And this shell is a protective mechanism for them so that they can just keep all their like soft squishy insides safe. And that's kind of the idea behind Chariot, is this outward defense system, aggressiveness, resiliency, capability to do things. I also see it as balance with these two sphinxes down at the bottom. Gives me kind of a feel of duality and also potentially partnership, just because there are two of them and they are opposing colorations, kind of like yin yang, actually exactly like yin yang, because each one has a little bit of the other. So duality, concept of yin yang, balance, that whole feel. So let's take this idea of Chariot, which is like a very positive card, especially because it's your card. It's got some extra weight, which is good in my opinion, because let's go over to these other two cards and let's chat about them for a little bit. So we have got the Nine of Swords and the Two of Cups. Let's talk about Two of Cups first. Two of Cups is going to be, well, let's talk about Two of Cups in the upright initially, and that'll help us understand it in the reverse. So Two of Cups in the upright is talking about unity. It's talking about two become one, togetherness, harmony, good communication, center alignment if a relationship is not something that's kind of in the cards for you. This could be viewed as like a perfect relationship in the upright. But I also like to read it as just like the relationship you have with yourself, or if you are spiritual, the relationship you have with the spiritual entity that you identify with, or that you worship, or whatever it is that you do, unity within that spiritual journey. Which also, just coming down here, we do have the Ace of Cups, which is the card preceding the Two of Cups, signifying a potential spiritual journey, spiritual awakening, new relationship, new feeling. Also, just a quick note on this, being open to opportunities. We have to remember this is a chalice. A chalice is a vessel. A vessel is meant to hold things. So in order to hold something, we have to be open for it. So if you are wanting your luck to turn around, which, I mean, in my opinion, according to these two cards, you surely do, make sure that you're open to opportunities to allow it to do so. I do believe that what is meant for us will find us. However, we do have free will. And just because it finds us doesn't mean that we are taking the opportunity. It could present itself to us and we could be turning away. Now, why might we be turning away, you ask? Because we are stuck in despair. Okay? Nine of Swords. I always want to call swords wands for some reason. I don't know why. I need to do some reflection on that because I do it a lot, and obviously there's a reason why I want to correlate the two. But this is going to be Nine of Swords. Maybe let's look at it as the Nine of Wands. I don't know. Let's just kind of put a wand spin on this Nine of Swords. So Nine of Swords is talking about despair. Okay? To me, it's like shit has hit the fan. I'm in peak anxiety, peak despair, failure, depression, fear, just being bogged down, defeated. It's just a very, very low place. And in my opinion, the Nine of Swords is really the apex of the suit of swords. So normally one would think, oh, is 10 not like the apex? That's the highest number of the suit. And I do not believe that the 10 is, because the 10 is talking about you went through this hardship, but now that cycle can come to an end and you can move into a new, more positive direction, or just a new direction in general. Could be the same thing, more positive, could be something new. Either way, it is circulatory and it is like beginning end. Okay, so there's hope there. We don't have the hope in the Nine of Swords yet. Okay, we're going to get there. Let's keep this in mind. Something key I want to point out to this, I don't know if you guys can see it. I did move the camera closer, so maybe you guys can see the artwork better. But if we look down in this bottom corner, there is a blanket, is what it seems to be. A blanket that is checkerboard, and it is yellow and blue. Now, checkerboard also shows up here in my Three of Wands satchel type of look. I see these connecting. We're going to get to it in a little bit. But just wanted to, point that out. Get your mind kind of already thinking about possible connections that might be coming our way. So yes, this is peak fear, anxiety, failure, stress, being bogged down, feeling like there's no way out, feeling stuck, plateaued, all that kind of stuff. So not the most positive place to be, especially also with this Two of Cups in reverse. If we have a new relationship, or if we're in an existing relationship, we're having some disharmony, some lack of communication, or this is us saying we're not in alignment with ourselves. That's really how I like to look at these cards. Tarot for me has so much to do with like the inner self, and a lot of my readings really point to inner self rather than relationships. I do talk about relationships as well, but a lot of it is inner self because we have control of that. And even in a relationship, we only have control on our side of things, and in order to act out our side of things, usually we need to do some internal work. So once again, it all points to like the seed of the problem, right? The root of the problem, I guess, is I do want to call it the seed of the problem, because Root is something that has already been established and it's already grown, and we have to get that root out in order to get rid of like the weed. But the seed is that step right before it. It's, we did something and we didn't know maybe that it was going to root like that and cause all these problems, or we didn't know what the seed was. That's probably more likely. Like, you have this seed and it's like, oh, I'm going to plant this seed and see what grows, and it turns out to be a weed and it kills all the plants around you, and you're like, oh, well, wish I wouldn't have done that, but I did. That's okay. Um, don't beat yourself up for whatever seed it was that you planted. You are resilient. You will make it through it. But you're going to have to, make sure you're doing some internal work and some alignment with really believing that you are capable of that. Let's go to this oracle card real quick. It says the hidden worlds, changing consciousness, awareness, extrasensory perception. So this is talking about just being aware of sensory input that you might be receiving. However, I really like to read this card as don't miss the forest for the trees. Now, I find that to be pretty applicable to our major themes going up here. So what I mean by that is the tree is whatever this is, whatever hardship you're going through, whatever relationship didn't work out and you are depressed about it, or new job, or whatever it is that is not working out and we're sad about it. This way is a little bit easier to see. We're going to be resilient and tough and work through it, and we're not going to let this consume our identity. Nine of Swords popped up in, I believe it was Taurus's spread as well, and I think I gave them a similar message where I was like, hey, like, this has happened, but don't let it be your whole identity. Just don't identify with it, because now we're internalizing some like trauma, and that's gonna end up, rearing its ugly head later. Sorry, I keep hitting this freaking microphone. One of these days I will get used to it, but today is not that day, so please forgive me. Anyways, major themes of the month. Let's move on to unexpected challenges and how we are going to overcome them. So let's flip these cards over. Let's see what we've got. We have the Sun, Three of Pentacles, and last but not least, the Ten of Swords. Okay. Speak its name and it shall appear, apparently. I did bring up the Ten of Swords in relation to the Nine of Swords earlier, so cool. Guess we will chat about that. Let's start with the Sun. The Sun is coming up in unexpected difficulties. So, what I'm taking this to mean, typically the Sun is a positive omen, even in the reverse. Usually it has like a positive meaning. Joy, happiness, hope, optimism. This is the seeds of life. Things grow from this. Cultivating. We got sunflowers in the back. We got this little boy. He's riding on a horse and he's like triumphantly going through. Self-assuredness, self-confidence. Overall, just like a positive state of being. So, in the unexpected challenges, I would just say that if we are in a situation where, like, okay. I'm kind of looking at some of your other cards all in conjunction with one another. And I'm not gonna just talk about your difficulties. I'm kind of going to interdisperse your solutions with your difficulties, because we need to talk about them all together. So let's start with this Three of Wands, okay? Expanding, choices, options, also signifying make sure you are being open to all possibilities. Once again, this Ace of Cups that I mentioned earlier is a open chalice for things to come into us. And I say that about this Three of Wands because if you notice, he is facing outward. He is going on a journey. He is going to pursue whatever it is that he wants. But he has a wand behind him that he's not seeing and not looking at. And that could be a viable option for you. So I do get a bit of a relationship feel to your guys' spread. This is a general read, so if you're not looking for a relationship right now, maybe view this in the context of a relationship with yourself, or if you are spiritual and you are trying to cultivate a relationship with whatever deity you worship, could also have that implication here. But I do get kind of a relationship vibe here. So what this is saying to me is we have this expansion card, right? So now we're going to try and move on from this hurt, which is what the Ten of Swords is signifying. And the fact that it's coming up in this things to watch out for along with this Sun card, to me, oh, and even with this Three of Pentacles, yeah, okay, actually, let's just look at all three of these together. So, if we're looking at this in the context of relationship, and I'm talking about romantic relationship, potentially also platonic, but more of like a friendship that has a deep emotional significance for you. Doesn't have to be romantic, but there needs to be an emotional significance to it, is the context of the relationship that I'm discussing here. So we have gone through this hurt and pain because whatever it was wasn't working out. Now we are looking to maybe get back into dating if it is a romantic relationship, or someone new has come into our life. We're not closing our eyes to the possibility of maybe somebody we don't expect, maybe someone that's not our type, maybe someone that we have already known and have just never seen in that light, which the Sage here, I will get to these cards, I promise. The Sage here is talking about viewing things from a higher perspective. So to me also what this is saying, especially with this being the Wand, is maybe this person is not your typical type, and maybe it is someone who is not your type in a way that is more material. So you don't like their job, you maybe aren't as attracted to them as maybe a different, type of individual, something like that. It's not, it's a very material thing, and the Sage is saying to be open to those people because maybe you align on an internal level. Maybe your moral compasses, the things at the core of your being that are important to you, maybe those are the same, and not to just overlook them because maybe the material side of things are just like not, meshing with you on. And that also could be here. This could also be saying, you might have met this person, you're trying to date, and maybe you're like, I don't know, because they're not really my type. Just keep an open mind, okay? Ace of Cups, open mind. Okay, let's get to these cards that I've been holding for probably like for 5 minutes now. So I want to view all these three together in the context of a relationship that has emotional meaning for you. Most specifically, a dating relationship. This also could be pertaining to a friendship or an important work relationship, career relationship, something that's going to have emotional influence, okay? So what this is saying to me is when we're moving on from this pain, hurt, bad experience of the Nine of Swords into the Ten of Swords, we're leaving behind the old pain. We're going into a new cycle, right? We're saying, whatever, I'm over it, okay? It's a good sign. It's a good sign. However, we're seeing it in the difficulties. So I think what that means is in this moving on process, in this putting yourself back out there, trying to meet someone, trying to cultivate this relationship, whatever type of relationship it might be, I think you're going to meet someone. Three of Pentacles is teamwork. It's also recognition. So someone's going to notice you, maybe. And they're going to just do all the right things, and you're going to feel on cloud nine, okay? It is going to be fantastic. They are going to seem like the most perfect match. This is a job well done. This is teamwork. This is all good stuff, right? So you're thinking, okay, where's the problem, right? showing up in unexpected difficulties. And sometimes the unexpected difficulties are like, duh. I mean, you don't need to be any sort of like seasoned tarot reader to understand that if this happens, this is going to be, a difficulty. This indeed is an unexpected challenge, difficulty. This to me is saying someone is going to come into your life because you're opening yourself up to dating again, and it is going to seem wonderful. You are going to try and be open hearted to them. Ace of Cups is also talking about being full of love, wanting to give love, wanting to receive love, just be like love personified. But these people do not have your best intentions at heart. They could be love bombing you. They could be portraying a presence of themselves, a version of themselves that they do believe to be authentic and true. But as time goes on, you will see that that is not their true authentic self. And it is something that maybe they're doing unconsciously, or they're unaware of it. It is not intentional. It is not done with malicious intent. So I would just caution any new unions, relationships, anything moving forward this month, especially if it is something that just feels like absolute destiny, love of your life, fate has brought you together type of vibe. The whole kind of, actually, the whole phrasing of these three cards together is, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Keep that in mind this month with your connections, okay? So the one card we did not talk about in terms of the tarot in this center row here is the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is just talking about action, hard work. He may not be the smartest or the fastest or the strongest or whatever, but the Knight of Pentacles is a hard worker. And his card really signifies like, I'm going to chip away. I'm going to chip away until I get to my plan or my goal. And he's a planner and he likes structure. And he is going to make sure that he knows exactly how he's going to get from point A to point B. So, what I love about that in relation to this whole idea and theme of maybe someone coming into your life or some sort of relationship, and they're trying to either consciously or unconsciously, for lack of a better word, like manipulate you, or getting you to invest in them in some emotional way, and then it not really being kind of like what it seemed like it was going to be. Also indicative of this duality, black and white. What else did I say? We have that. We have it in checkerboard. Checkerboard is signaling duality. Once again, we have checkerboard in this Three of Wands. I said we were going to get to that. And I really see the Nine of Swords, Three of Wands, and this Empress, which is down at the bottom, being connected via this center Three of Wands checkerboard. When I was looking at this spread, just the Empress and the Nine of Wands, to me, were just really telling me that they were connected. There's no particular reason why I felt these cards were connected, but I just had a very strong sense that they are in relation to one another. So as a recap, Nine of Wands is main theme for the month, and Empress is considerations, lenses to look through. So Empress is about nurturing, being within your femininity, mothering roles, birthing new creations or ideas, fertility, just kind of like the archetypal woman. And to me, what that's really saying is just, if you are going through this hard time, or you've made this decision that has led to this fear, failure, anxiety, depression, sadness, pinnacle of despair, whatever you want to call it, have some compassion on yourself, okay? We are the only people who will be consistent in our lives for our whole lives. So we need to watch the self-talk, and we need to remember that we are resilient, Cancer. You got a hard freaking shell for a reason, okay? You're resilient, and you are strong and capable and self-assured and confident. Nurture that side of you. Nurture these positive aspects of you. Realign with that sense of self. Don't be so disjointed right now where you feel like you caused this despair, this hurt, this pain by the choices that you made. Okay? That's how we resolve this. We resolve the pain by accepting and nurturing it and letting it go. Okay? Let's look at these oracle cards before we move on to these bottom ones. I already talked about the Sage, looking at things from a higher perspective, different viewpoint. Always wise advice, in my opinion. Goes along with this Three of Wands nicely. And the Ace of Cups. Just be, cognizant and aware of your surroundings. What possibilities they have to offer. Might not seem like a possibility at the time, but could turn out to be one. So the Wildling is another one of the oracle cards. And we also have Shine Bright Like a Candle. You'll make it through this. Yeah, you surely will. You definitely are going to make it through it. We have the 9. We have the 10. We have the Ace of Cups. Different suit, but still in alignment with one another. This is like defeat, fear, pain, anxiety, failure. Those are emotions. Those are feelings. Those are, we're only going to be feeling this negative, depressed way because our emotions are negative. So I definitely see a correlation there. You're going to make it through it. The Wildling is just about taking ownership and making the choice to decide that you're going to get over it and you're going to move on, and that's that. So once again, by nurturing yourself, lots of correlation in these cards. Tons. Okay? Realignment with sense of self. We can let go of this hurt and pain. We can move on by accepting what has happened and forgiving ourselves. Being open to new opportunities, opening up our heart, being love personified. Okay, one more card here. I don't remember where these went. I'm just going to put them down now. The last card we have is the 9 of Cups in reverse. Okay, so this one to me is coming as a little bit of a warning. Like I said, key concepts, lenses that we're looking throughout the rest of the month. A little bit of a warning here. Lack of personal fulfillment. The 10 of Cups is talking about lack of fulfillment in a more community, broader sense, or maybe external sense is how we want to look at that, material things. This is talking about internal environment. This is talking about sense of self. This is talking about lacking within. So self-confidence issues, needing, insecurity, being sensitive, anything kind of along those lines. So just something to be aware of, especially, once again, if we're looking at this in the context of a relationship. It's going to drive me nuts if these are not in the right spot. If we're looking at this in the context of a relationship, what this is saying is if you are going to go into a new relationship, if you're going to make that decision, make sure that you are going in confidently. Because right now, I don't think you are, or if you were to go into it, maybe before being cognizant and aware of how you need to proceed, you're going to go into it with a lot of self-doubt because of whatever happened here. That seed got planted, right? We need to break that cycle. So in order to do that, we need to be confident in ourselves, our resiliency, our abilities to do things, because we are the Knight of Pentacles. No matter what, you just get it done. One foot in front of the other. Doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as it gets done, right? Okay. Cancer, thank you for joining me. I hope you got something out of this. Please leave a comment if any of this resonated with you. Like I said, if it does not resonate, if you think I am just talking crazy, leave whatever is not meant for you. Take what is. And I will see you guys in March for your March Tarot forecast. Have a wonderful day.